What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to KO with Kyle. I'm your host, Kyle. Today we'll be recapping UFC Fight Night, Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland, as well as forecasting UFC 260, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. There's a lot to get into, so without any further ado, let's get into it. Starting off the prelims at flyweight, we had Bruno Silva versus JP Buys. There was an accidental groin strike and eye poke early on. Buys went for a jumping kick and ended up on his back. A spinning back fist elbow at the end of round one rocked Buys. Silva dropped Buys with a right hand. He recovered, and then another right knocked Buys out. Bruno Silva won in round two by TKO. Next at bantamweight, we had Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader. Strader was the biggest underdog on the card. Strader was throwing leg kicks early on. Jackson dropped him with a right hook and then smothered him for the TKO win. Montel Jackson won by TKO. Next at middleweight, we had Trevin Giles versus Roman Dolidze. Dolidze was attacking the lead leg in round one. Dolidze got a takedown. Giles had far more significant strikes in round two. Dolidze was going for a leg lock submissions. Giles looked fresher in round three. The judges scored it a unanimous decision win for Trevin Giles. Next at lightweight, we had Leonardo Santos versus Grant Dawson. Dawson was going for takedowns. He only landed 1 of 11 attempts. Santos reversed a takedown attempt in round one and ended up on top. It was a close round two. Dawson got a takedown in round three. Dawson got ground and pound for most of the round. He stood back up, and with 3 consecutive shots right on the chin, Dawson knocked out Santos with 1 second left in the third round. Next at women's bantamweight, we had Marion Renault versus Macy Chiasson. It was a close round one. Chiasson was striking at distance. Both fighters got a takedown in round three. The judges scored it a unanimous decision win for Macy Chiasson. Starting off the main card at heavyweight, we had Tai Tuivasa versus Harry Hunsucker. Low leg kicks hurt Hunsucker early. A right hand dropped Hunsucker, and Tai Tuivasa finished by TKO. Next at bantamweight, we had Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez. Yanez was walking Lopez against the cage. Yanez had more significant strikes in rounds 1 and 2. Yanez landed a right on the chin as Lopez was coming in, and he won by KO in round 3. At women's strawweight, we had Cheyenne Buys versus Montserrat Ruiz. All of round 1, Buys was in a scarf hold headlock on the mat. Conejo landed another bulldog choke, takedown in round 2, and then another in round 3. The judges scored a unanimous decision win for Ruiz. There was controversy after the fight where it looked like Montserrat was going to spit in the face of Cheyenne Buys, and Cheyenne said, "I'll follow you home, bitch." It was very heated. There was no actual spit in the replay, and she still had her mouth guard in, but there was still some heat exchange. In our co-main event at welterweight, we had Kenan Song versus Max Griffin. Griffin came out strong early, a straight right, and then a left-right follow-up from Griffin, dropped Song. Griffin won by round 1 KO. In our main event at middleweight, we had Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. Holland slipped, and then Brunson was on top for all of round 1. Brunson landed multiple takedowns in round 2. Holland was not actively trying to get up from his back. Instead, he was triangling his legs. Brunson dominated every round with takedowns and top control. Brunson didn't do much damage from his positional advantage, but he just repeatedly took Holland to the mat. Holland actually took down Brunson once in round 5. The judges scored a unanimous decision win for Derek Brunson. All throughout the fight, Holland was calling out to Khabib for advice on the sidelines, not listening to his corner and just being loud and obnoxious and losing the fight, which was a bad look. Holland is still young and has lots of potential, but he needs to train more in wrestling if he doesn't want to repeat this outcome. In Kyle's fight picks, I had Tai Tuivasa, Kenan Song, Adrian Yanez, Montserrat Ruiz, and Kevin Holland, so I went 3 for 5. Next, let's forecast UFC 260, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. Starting off the main card at lightweight, we have Jamie Mullarkey versus Kama Worthy. Mullarkey is 12-4 professionally. Worthy is 17-6 professionally. Mullarkey is 0-2 in his first 2 UFC fights. Worthy is 2-1 in his 3 UFC fights. Worthy's on a 5-fight win streak before a TKO loss to Atman Izatar. I'm picking the slight favorite, Kama Worthy. Next at women's flyweight, we have Jillian Robertson versus Miranda Maverick. Maverick won her UFC debut against Lilia Jojua. Robertson has won 3 in her last 5 fights. Robertson is coming off of a loss to Tayla Santos. Robertson lost to Macy Barber, which leads me to believe that she might also lose to Miranda Maverick. I'm picking the slight favorite, Miranda Maverick. Next at bantamweight, we have Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. Sean O'Malley is 12-1 professionally, coming off of a TKO loss to Marlon Vera. Almeida is coming off of 3 losses and only has 1 win in his last 5 fights. O'Malley has all the skills to make this easy work as long as he doesn't get caught. I'm picking the heavy favorite, Sean O'Malley. In our co-main event at welterweight, we have Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. Luque has 4 wins in his last 5 fights. Woodley is a former welterweight champ who's coming off 3 consecutive losses. Woodley has fought the bigger names. Woodley hasn't won a round in 3 consecutive 5-round fights. Luque is coming off of 2 finishes. I'd love to see the former champ have a great night, but based on each guy's recent performances, I have to pick the favorite, Vicente Luque. In our main event at heavyweight, we have Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. Ngannou has 4 knockout victories in his last 5 fights. Stipe is the UFC heavyweight champ with the most consecutive title defenses at 3 and the most total title defenses at 4. Stipe dominated Francis all 5 rounds of their first fight. Francis's only 2 losses in the UFC are to Stipe and Derek Lewis, but in both fights he looked pretty bad. I think it's likely this fight will go similar to their first fight, so I'd bet the over 1.5 rounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if Stipe gets the finish this time around. I'm picking the slight underdog, Stipe Miocic. Kyle's Fight Picks. In Kyle's Fight Picks, I have Kama Worthy, Miranda Maverick, Sean O'Malley, Vicente Luque, and Stipe Miocic. Our next episode will recap UFC 260, Miocic versus Ngannou, and forecast UFC Fight Night Till versus Vettori. So please subscribe so that you never miss our timely content, and until next time, fight fans, peace.